For the past 4 years, I've dedicated my entire channel to focusing entirely on man vs. machine. And at this point, I think it's about time for a change. Confine yourself to any one part of TF2 for half a decade, and it's inevitable the gravitational pull will start to weaken. Truth be told, that's been happening for quite some time now. My upload schedule ain't what it used to be, and that's largely the reason. But there is a bit more I want to go over. Some under-the-table lore that I figured is worth dumping, so allow me to do that for you. Let me start off by saying that this whole MvM guy bit was largely the product of what many could describe as a happy accident. This was never my original intention going into content creation. I have almost 14,000 hours on Team Fortress 2. 20% of my waking existence on this planet has been spent playing this one singular game since 2013. If there's a new map, I've grinded it. If there's a new game mode, I've tried it. If there's a new community server, I've played there. My appreciation for TF2 is long-reaching, far beyond any one particular sector of the game. However, the channel theory crafting that bounces around in every teenager's head had the brakes put to it in 2019. I took a break from TF2, about a year and a half long, and when I returned, I discovered that my favorite game had been mauled to shit. Casual mode was unfucking playable, with wall-to-wall bot farms infesting every server. And while I was lucky enough to have my favorite community servers not die on me, all the regulars I once played with had all since moved on. It just didn't feel like home anymore. And sure, maybe I was being a bit naive to think it would be, but it didn't make the feeling of trying to re-immerse myself back into communities that now felt alien to me any more comforting. Very quickly, Man vs. Machine became a refuge, a place to continue enjoying TF2 when I felt like I couldn't anywhere else. Now cut to summer 2021, a month or two back into the MvM grind. Valve patches in those horrible inspect changes. The system that helped identify and subsequently fix group-wide problems got the electric chair. The very second I read the patch notes, I knew exactly, without fail, what was going to happen. New players were gonna be left stranded, as these newly enforced communication roadblocks would make transmitting helpful information to new players much more inconvenient. Even I stopped playing with Lotors at the time because it just became way too cumbersome to try and help them out. This was also before TacoBot's anti-cheat pivot, and their toxicity tendrils were reaching far and wide across the player base. The writing on the wall was obvious. Valve, in an attempt to reduce toxicity, ended up removing the mechanism that both directly and indirectly facilitated players sharing game knowledge with each other, creating a whole factory farm of noobish red meat for the high-tour hyenas patrolling the farm. This is when making videos went from an abstract desire to something a lot more concrete. I had 200 tours to my name. No one else was making MvM content, and during this period of time, new MvM players needed help then more than ever. The mantle needed picking up, so I did. It also quite conveniently fit the YouTube philosophy that I've always felt strongly towards, which can best be summarized in 2 words. Why me? Why should anyone watch my videos over every single other one in the recommended feed? I've always believed that if you can't answer that question, you're not going to make it very far. I finally had an answer, one that had been lacking for years, so I set a roadmap in place. Half a dozen tier lists, beggars video, gas passer video, bad MvM upgrades, and we're done. That was the original plan, make a solid lineup of MvM videos before branching out into the more generalized TF2 content that I always envisioned myself doing. But as I kept uploading these videos, people kept liking them. They wanted more, and more, and more, and who was I to say no? I was the Rain Man in a content desert, and you're damn fucking right I was gonna make it rain. For every one video I'd make, I'd get 5 more ideas. I still have dozens left on my plate even to this day. Was I pigeonholing myself? Yeah, but I didn't care. Casual mode was still fucked. Community servers weren't my home anymore. Man vs. Machine was where all my passion shifted towards. It's what I logged on to play every single day. So being able to continuously share that passion, all while adhering to that 2-word content philosophy, was nothing but a perfect situation for me. More than anything though, I was having a shitload of fun. But then, in 2024, the bots got banned. Casual mode was free, and I remembered how good it felt to play regular TF2 again. I started experimenting with new weapon combos I'd shelved for years. I went back to playing maps like Camber, Cascade, and Rumford, new additions that I didn't really give a fair shot at the time. This all snowballed back into falling in love with community servers, and I even went back to play custom game modes like Death Run and Freak Fortress. Slowly but surely, I was inching my way out of my multi-year-long hibernation bubble, but my channel never really caught up with that. As it stands today, Man vs. Machine has not been the majority of my game time for over a year, and so now there's a disconnect, an incongruity between what I play to make TF2 videos on and what I play for pure laid-back fun. Prior to the bot ban, this was a distinction without a difference. All roads led back to the Clanker casting couch. We're now at the point where 80 to 90% of my passion for this game has been entirely unrealized inside of any kind of YouTube content because it didn't fit the rigid niche that I confined this channel towards years ago. Over 10,000 hours of my life has been spent playing TF2 outside of Man vs. Machine, and it has been wholly irrelevant to this channel's longevity. We're now at the point where I've been putting pen to paper, jotting pages upon pages of thoughts about the game purely for my own enjoyment, completely behind the scenes. A poor allocation of brainpower and resources? Sure, but it's hard to not take this as a sign that I really gotta unload that vault. So, to put it as bluntly as possible, any video that requires me to play Man vs. Machine more than I actually want to is no longer a priority for me. I'll still play the game mode, still make videos on it, and who knows, maybe next week Valve drops a time frame for the MvM update, and back on the horse we go. But any and all uploads will be a natural byproduct of my genuine, authentic enjoyment of the game mode based entirely on organic play sessions. No longer a compulsion born out of TikTok got a video to make. That's become almost the entirety of my rationale for playing the game mode these days. And that current, that cord responsible for facilitating 80% of my engagement with Man vs. Machine is getting cut. But with this newfound schedule clearance comes a series of projects to fill up the time. And to start, I'm officially announcing that I have 2 different TF2 servers up and running. The first is a more traditional vanilla TF2 experience, with all of the old server settings that people have been bitching at Valve to re-implement. Auto scramble, team switching, 45-minute round timers, it's all there. If you find the constant round refreshing of casual annoying, here's a good place to avoid them. Personally, it's not something I mind that much on a gameplay level. Usually I just tab out, watch a YouTube short, tab back in, and I'm in a new game. It's not that big of a deal for me. But what is a big deal for me is I really miss playing with the same group of players for sometimes hours on end. The chat room with guns ethos has always been what's made TF2 special to me, and it's not something that the flood in, flood out mantra of casual mode can really provide. Player interactions aren't given enough time to blossom before the server resets and everyone exits stage right. This is also why we've decided to enable all talk. The goal is to create a place to experience good old-fashioned TF2, but with a stronger emphasis on community building. We called it Club Wheezy for a reason. It's a club. A place to come home after work or school and chill with the same group of players regularly. Right now, there's only an American East Coast server, but if there's enough demand, maybe we'll branch out into different regions. Vanilla servers can be pretty fickle in that regard though, so I'm not promising anything for a while. The second server, however, is a bit more unorthodox, but something I think people will enjoy. If you were heavy into trading servers back in the mid-2010s, you might remember the name of 2 pretty popular groups, Mass Crabbing Co. and Raffle Smash, the latter of which was actually founded by myself back when I was 12 years old. These were the typical playground trade servers, but they were best known for their server-wide community events where they'd put 30 guys in a room, run some kind of minigame, and hand out prizes to the winners. Think of it like a combination between the lackadaisical gameplay of Hightower, the culture of old-timey trade Minecraft servers, and the sporadic chaos of TF2ware all rolled into one central hub. Both of these servers have been dead for years, but now we're bringing them back. I even brought on a lot of the old regulars from a decade ago to help run the show. The goal is to give a whole new generation of TF2 players the same experience that we all had back in the day. It really was a definitive part of all of our gaming lives. Right now, we're just using a placeholder map, a slightly modified version of an iteration information from years past. If you've ever played on Lazy Purple's server, you may have seen it a couple of times. We'll get an updated version sometime in the future, but this'll work for now. There's a channel in the Discord that allows you to auto-connect from there. We've also got a website that does the exact same thing. And if you ever enjoy your stay, just go to your history tab, right-click on the server, and add it to your favorites. We plan on keeping these filled pretty regularly. And for one final announcement, there's been a video idea I've had for a while now that I want all of you to help me with. That's right, you. As of February 2026, TF2 now has 126 maps in the base rotation. And you know what? I want to rank them. But not just my lowly opinions, no sir, that's too self-centered for such a large project. I want all of you to participate. In the description below is a Google form with every base game TF2 map, all 126 of them, sorted alphabetically by game mode. I welcome all of you to rank each one of them on the 1 to 10 scale provided, and feel free to spread the survey around. There are, however, a couple of stipulations. 1. Only rank maps that you're reasonably experienced with. If you ever look at a map name and thumbnail and think, what's this one again? Just skip it. This will help make the results as accurate as possible. 2. Rank maps in a vacuum, disconnected from potential matchmaking conditions. Some people might not like control point maps because they'll often end in 5 minutes before needing to re-queue. Some people might not like capture the flag because games can go on for 90 minutes and you can't quit without forfeiting badge XP or contract progress. Some people might not like payload race or player destruction because their alt game mode status frequently leads to games where only half the server is present. Just imagine you're playing a full 24-player server with games lasting as long as you please. Under that pretext, what are the maps you enjoy the most? And 3, just be honest. Give your real, genuine opinions, regardless of how normie or how hipster they might be. I've also gone out of my way to personally message every YouTuber I'm in contact with and ask that they not disclose their survey publicly. We all know how the community can get with YouTuber opinions and how many of them are control-V'd ad nauseum. I want to know what the average TF2 player thinks, not something curated by whatever YouTube video they watch last, including my own. Just keep it real. I'd appreciate it. I'll be leaving the survey up until March 15th, so that'll be the deadline for submissions. After that, I'll get cracking on a video publishing the results. Should be an interesting time. Anyways, I appreciate you all sticking around this long, and I look forward to getting that old 2023 spark back for making videos, contorting my own TF2 experience to make it as best as it can be, and diversifying my content a bit more is how I'm best optimizing for that result. Hopefully this leads to a more frequent upload cadence in the future, but at this point I'm done making promises, so just wait and see on that one. Anyways, thank you all for watching the video. Twitter, Twitch, Discord, second channel, server info, and map forum are all in the description, and that's all I got. See ya.